Alright, we're live. Slightly Nocturnal show is back. Today's date is October 19th, 2017. Or actually, it's probably October 20th, where one of our guests tonight is. I'm joined tonight with Brew and Thor. And they'll be talking with me tonight on the Slightly Nocturnal show. Bo Machado will be back next week. But until then, I've got Brew and Thor. What's going on, fellas?
Not a lot. What's up, man?
How's it going?
Brew is somebody I know from a past life, and Thor I met on the internet of all things. Thor, go ahead and tell us. You know you swiped right. You know you swiped right, Thor. You fucking tender motherfucker. So I met Thor through a mutual friend online. Thor's a great guy. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Thor.
As you probably guessed from the accent, I'm from the Great United Kingdom. Great United Kingdom? Great Britain or United Kingdom? Thank you, Michael. Don't do much. I'm a bookmaker by day. I take bets for people. It's an awesome job, honest. Absolutely love it.
Tell us a little bit about what is bookmaking.
Oh, it's just taking bets for people on horses, dogs, football, basically any sporting event.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Processing the bets, paying them out if they win, which they don't often.
So, go ahead and introduce yourself, Brew.
All right, I'm Brew. I sell guns for a living.
Nothing else? You got nothing?
Yeah, nothing else. Mechanic for 7 years.
No interesting facts about yourself. You're definitely not a bookmaker or a bookie for the mob, I see.
No, it's hard to follow that one up. It's a hard act to follow.
All right, so go ahead and tell us, Thor, like a little bit. So that what you do in the U.S. is considered illegal. So, tell us a little bit more about that. What you do.
Well, no, it's a fairly big thing here. Over here, it seems like everybody and the brother bets on the football every weekend. Football's a massive sport over here. We're talking soccer. I suppose I should clarify. We don't do none of your American football.
Although we come over and play there. No, that's not completely true.
There is a little bit of interest in betting front, but yeah, it's mainly just on the soccer over here. People doing the rackers, trying to win the thousands and failing week after week.
Now, is there? I think I've asked you this before, but there's controls about not letting people like literally blow their whole wad, right? Like they can't continually lose, can they?
Well, there is responsible gambling laws. It's actually a big thing in the news over here at the minute. There's a review coming up because basically we've got like slot machines in the shops as well. They're called fixed odds betting terminals, and I mean, to be honest, I agree with the review in some ways because it's like the maximum you can stake on them is 100 quid every 20 seconds.
Oh, so there's like a bet limit, like a ceiling, how much you can throw down.
Oh yeah. I mean, if anyone wants larger bets on things, it's like we have to ring it through, and sometimes they get declined. Sometimes.
Why would they get declined?
Well, if the bookie thought it was too big of a risk, it might be. Or if they thought there's some insider information or something going on there, because that's illegal. It's like football players aren't allowed to bet on their own football matches. In fact, I don't think they're allowed to bet on any football matches. But...
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Kind of running out of things to say about it. It's not that interesting to me because I do it every day.
So there is controls to a point as to what can be, how much somebody can bet. I get you said like every 20 seconds. So if I wanted to come in and drop $1 million, that would be almost impossible.
Be almost impossible in a bookmaker, yeah. But we've got online gambling as well, which the stakes are much higher on that.
Now, is that something that you have something to do with or not?
No, I have nothing to do with online.
So that's like a different company altogether, that kind of thing.
Same company, different wing.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Now,
A lot
are
of
you
what's
like,
going on.
are you a bettor? Do you bet at all?
Um, little dribs and drabs. I bet on the Grand National. That's a once a year thing.
You drop like serious dough on it, or just do you drop
Oh
the
no, a
max?
few quid. It's like I maybe do a fiver on like 4 horses in it. But it's a 40-horse race.
So
So,
quid to US, like how much quid is the US dollar?
I think we're talking about 1.4 or something now, aren't we?
So like a dollar
about
40
70
to.
pence.
Okay.
No, other way.
Okay. Okay.
So usually about $10. I think is about between 7 and 8 quid, depending on the market.
Okay.
Awkward silence.
No. Well, so you do that for a living. Does that pay the bills? Does it pay well?
Yeah, pays the bills. It's not something I want to do for the rest of my life.
What are you
It's
interested?
something to
What do you want to do?
Well, I love building computers, so like getting into something that could do that would be like the dream for me.
Yeah.
So I don't care if I make a lot of money doing it, as long as I make enough money and I'm doing something I enjoy. That's kind of what's my word? That's good enough for me.
So, Brew, you sell guns for a living.
I do.
So, tell us a little bit. So, in the U.S., that's not frowned upon.
Not at all. No, it is. Well, so long as you don't live in a few select states.
Now, you live in a state that's pretty open with their gun laws, right?
Yes, we are. I like to call it a free state.
A free state versus what? An unfree state?
Oh, there's like California. I call them commie states.
So explain the gun laws that's different between where you live in Idaho versus in California.
So, like in Idaho, so long as you can come in, you're of age, and pass a background check, you can walk out with your gun today, right now.
Okay, so let's talk about...
Takes about 20 minutes. So in California, you go in. If you want to buy a handgun, you have to have already been approved for a special permit. You go in to buy the gun. There's a 10-day waiting period after you've passed the background check. And so then after 10 days, you can, so long as you haven't committed any crimes in those 10 days, you can go back in and take the gun.
Okay.
But
So what's the gun buying age in the U.S. to buy so it's different, right? Like handguns are different than rifles, right?
It is. Rifles or what are considered long guns, so that's going to be your rifles, shotguns, your AR-15 style rifles, things like that. That's all 18. You have to be 18 to purchase those. Any handgun or pistol or anything deemed by the ATF as an other, you have to be 21.
Okay. And so, but handguns are you can't buy a handgun even in different states, right? You have to buy it in the state you live in, right?
Correct. You have to be a resident of the state, otherwise it's interstate transfer of a firearm.
And that requires an FFL, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, perfect. So, Thor, there's no way for you as a UK citizen to be able to go buy a gun, right?
No, not all. Not unless as a farmer or a gamekeeper or something.
So, as a farmer, what gives you the right to own a gun as a farmer in the UK?
Basically, because you got land, you got pests on your land that need taken care of.
Is there a special permit required for that?
I believe there is. Not being farmer, I wouldn't know for certain.
Oh, you're not Farmer Thor? Come on now. And then you said a gamekeeper. So explain, what is a gamekeeper?
Well, basically, same thing as a farmer. A farmer will hire a gamekeeper to come and manage stuff on the lands. Same if they've got, you get gamekeepers even in national parks where there might still be wild deer or something around, which there isn't a lot of over here anymore. But you might get people who try and stop predators, that kind of thing.
So if I wanted to hunt deer in the UK, that would if I lived there and I was a citizen, could you go and get a hunting license or something like that?
I'm not actually certain on that.
Actually, real funny, just real quick, while Thor's figuring that out. Some of the finest breakover action shotguns come out of the UK.
Really?
Some of the finest guns full stop came out of the UK. The only reason you're free citizens now is because you got our guns. Come on.
Hey.
What is this fucking dude talking about?
No, I mean, we're talking, you know, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 US to purchase one of these shotguns that gets made in the UK.
Oh, hold on. What did you say, Thor, about the only reason we're free? What did you fucking say?
Your whole war for independence, the only reason you won that is because you bought guns off a Scotch person who invented them, and our government wouldn't buy them.
Well, fucking bollocks for you. I don't know.
I know.
One of the greatest things Thor has ever sent me, in a message, was he sent me this picture of one day of the UK flag, and I've got it pinned on my Discord channel now. It says, "Happy Treason Day, you ungrateful colonials." He sent it to me on July 4th this year. It's one of my favorite pictures ever. It's fucking great.
And I came back to that with, whenever you're feeling down, don't forget that the UK lost a 13 colony lead.
Oh, but so me, Thor, and Brew, we if you haven't seen it yet, we play PC games online, and we've been recently playing Ark. We've created a kind of a mantra for ourselves. You'll notice there it's Thor's profile picture here on the Slightly Nocturnal show, the Barefoot Bandits, and we've been enjoying ourselves doing that. Thor is an if you don't know what Ark is like what would be the best way to describe Ark, Thor?
Survival game, build up a base, harvesting, crafting, grinding, crashing occasionally.
Definitely a grinding game. So just for so you know, like, how much grinding it is. I have over 1,700 hours in this game, which is, I need to find something else to do in life out, obviously. That's way too many hours to fucking be playing a fucking video game. But it's like, it's one of those games where you just, like, find yourself. You start playing at 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're like, holy fuck, where did all that time go? To me, when people ask me, you know, why you don't drink anymore, why do you sit at home and play video games, and I tell them, well, playing PC games, video games is cheap entertainment for me. It doesn't my pocketbook has not been affected nearly as much as it would be if I went out and drank or partied all the time. Like, you know, this game cost me, I think, $25 or $35 US 2 years ago, and I'm still playing it. I really enjoy it. And, you know, it's not like I'm antisocial, because that's how I met this Thor. And then I got Brew into playing Ark. What was it, last year?
Well, mainly it was because you ditched me on the Xbox, and you never just plugged it back in again, so I had to buy a computer to join you.
More like I didn't ditch you. You kind of just followed me because me and Thor are awesome. So
I'm going with my theory.
It's done you a favor anyway. What do you want a console for?
It has. Except
right.
for, you know, this
Brew has joined
piece
the master race. So
of updates.
You know what I don't miss? So I had an Xbox One. I was a huge console guy. I always had an Xbox. I bought an Xbox 360, and I've talked about this before. And then I got an Xbox One. And the thing I don't miss about the Xbox, especially the newer consoles, is you buy a disc, you put the game in, and then it wants you to download a 5 to 60 gigabyte update. I hate that shit. Like, I fucking hate it. At least I know when I buy a PC game, I'm going to have to download it and install it, so I know what I'm getting into. But if I go to the store and buy a $60 game, I shouldn't have to spend an extra 3 hours downloading additional content just to be able to play the game.
True.
Yeah, I have a feeling of that. I think that's about when I stopped doing console gaming myself. I was an Xbox guy as well. Never did actually go to the Xbox One. As right when that came out is when I bought my PC. So it was basically I looked at that and I looked at the PS4 and I thought these are PCs. I'll just get a PC.
Very true. They are PCs in their own right. Yeah, they're just running a skin version of an OS that's specifically for them. The only thing that I'll say is the huge difference between them all is, of course, the keyboard and mouse. And then there are some games that are only console games. And then they're console specific. Like, some games just come out for PS4. Some games come out just for the Xbox. But lately I've seen where, you know, like huge titles now, like PlayerUnknown, was a PC game first, and then it came to the consoles. Ark did the same thing.
I think Fortnite's doing the same thing at the minute as well.
Yep. Destiny kind of did it the other way around. Destiny was I think it was a PlayStation 3 or 4 exclusive, right? And then it came out on the Xbox. And now the second one, Destiny 2, is coming out for PC. So.
Yeah, after it's been out on console for, what, like a month now?
Yeah. I still don't think it's released on PC yet.
No, it's 24th of October, I believe.
Oh. So.
That means I gotta get on buying that.
I don't know, Thor. What do you think? Me and you played the beta together. Do you think that's something we're gonna buy?
I don't know. I'd have to spend some more time with it, but unfortunately that involves buying it. I never really played the first one. I never had it on console.
Now that's probably where me and Brew's friendship started. We played Destiny right together. Isn't that what we played?
Yeah, we started on Destiny and The Division.
The Division. Now that's another good game. Yeah. But The Division's on PC now. It's a good game. It's so good that I fucking bought it twice now. I bought it for the Xbox and the PC.
And then I went off and bought Wildlands because you guys were going to start playing that. And now you're not going to play it anymore.
We told you if it was good that we would buy it. Alright, so let's talk about some current events. And it's nice to have somebody from a different perspective, like Thor, from another country. Which, by the way, Thor is our second non-U.S. citizen on the show. So, and you're the first one from the U.K.
Hey. Sign the flag.
So, Thor, talk to us about this Brexit and how if it's going to affect the UK, how you think it's going to, and what your opinions are on it.
Okay, well, we voted for Brexit last year. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically we're part of the European Union. We have been since the 70s. It basically allows free movement of people between European countries that are in it, free trade, all that kind of thing. Now, we had a big referendum last year, basically asking us if we wanted to stay in it or whether we wanted to leave. There's a lot of campaigning to do with like the amount of immigration coming to this country, which a lot of people disagree with because it is literally just free travel between European countries. Now we've got Polish and Romanians and Lithuanians and basically all the Eastern European countries have people coming over here and then sending money back home, which a lot of people disagree with. Personally, I don't mind that so much. I mean, we need workers, right? And while there is an argument of them coming here and stealing our jobs, I don't think it's that. It's they're doing the jobs that we're not willing to do. I think if they all left, then jobs that they're doing would be empty for a very long time. Right. It'd probably actually end up being community service. They ended up doing it. I did personally vote for Brexit, but for a completely different reason.
Talk to us about that reason. What was that reason?
It stems back to an article that I read, and it stuck with me as just being completely and utterly pointless.
So an article on Reddit decided your vote?
No, sorry, not on Reddit. Just I read. I think it's in the newspaper.
Okay.
And basically what it was saying is a lot of our controls on foods and that kind of thing comes from the EU. And there's a paper on the production and sale of cauliflowers. and it is 32,000 words long.
On the sale of cauliflower, the vegetable.
Yes. And it's like, I read that, and it's like, how the fuck can there be 32,000 words on that subject? It's like someone's basically sat down for a week writing and then charged someone for a full week's work just to do this. And it's the money that goes to the EU, which is the one that what I have the problem with. It's like, there's a lot of money that we send that way, and I don't really see any benefit from it.
Now,
a lot of people don't.
Now, from what I understand, there has to be, like, it has to go correctly, or it could be catastrophic, right? It has to be done like in a certain way, right? Or you could like all of a sudden get charged. You could be buying milk for 20 fucking quid a thing, right? A gallon.
There is scaremongering around saying that. However, we have got quite a lot of stuff that we can do internal. Obviously, exotic fruits and veg and that we have to import in, but you like to see your basics, your milk, your wheat, and all that. It's like we produce here ourselves. It's like we don't, or shouldn't have to, actually need to buy any of this. I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it'll actually end up with more agriculture coming back to this country. So over the last 10 years, we've lost a lot of farming.
So you think it might be good for farmers there? You know, do you think that that kind of industry might come back because of the Brexit?
It might do, yeah. If it's going from a choice from importing, well, say, milk from France or Switzerland or anywhere and bringing it here, or actually having our own farmers do it, I'd rather have our own farmers do it. So we should always be looking inwards at our country and providing for us first, and then look outwards.
No, I agree. I do. I think that's a good thing. I think the U.S. could take some notes on that.
I think your president's trying to, isn't he?
That is a topic for a different time. Well, maybe we can talk about that. But yeah, so you voted for the Brexit. You want it to happen, and you think there's maybe some fear mongering going on based on that, because that was a huge deal. Even it made it was a top story here in the U.S. when it was going on. Yeah,
it's like you look around the other countries that are in the EU as well. I mean, a lot of them have taken on this new currency, the euro. Well, it's not new anymore. It's probably over a decade old. But the amount of countries you see with the financial industry just collapsing. It's happened in Spain, it's happened in Greece. And all you hear coming out of it is that it's because they're on the euro. It's like they tried to force us to take up the euro a few years ago as well. We voted against that. Yeah.
So, and you guys have plastic currency? Isn't that the deal?
Well, we're just in the process of transitioning now. It's like new £5 note came out. Was it earlier this year? No, it was late last year. New £10 note.
So how does it feel versus a paper note? Can you fold it up the same? Like, how does it work?
Not really. You get a lot of people complaining because they're bendy, they're not paper, they don't fold. So it's like, obviously, well, I see a lot of people with wallets in my job. It's like they open the wallet and like a £10 note just springs out because it's been folded up.
I was going to say,
that's happening quite often.
Spring-loaded wallets. That's got to be pretty cool.
Raining fucking £10 notes. Thank you for the tip. So, do you want to talk about what you just did when you found some notes the other day? Is that something you're comfortable with talking about?
Yeah, sure.
So that was like crazy to me. So if you want to tell that story, go right ahead. Yeah,
well, with us getting these new notes, so I remembered last year when the new £5 notes came out, there's a lot of hype over getting, well, the first ones that were printed. So there's like newspaper articles, there's websites out there you can look for as well. Like people banging on about, are these worth money? And it's like the ones where the serial number started AA01 and the ones where the serial number started AK47 ended up just getting out of control because people were paying stupid money for them. I hadn't heard anything about that with the £10 notes. I was in work the other day and someone happened to pay us with 2 notes, and I just happened to notice the serial number was AA01. And so I very quickly went, got my own money out, swapped them for some of my own money, brought them home, stuck them on eBay. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I put them on a starting bid of 20 quid because that's what they were worth. I just put a buy it now 300 quid, which I just plucked out of the ether, and someone bought it within half an hour. So yeah, that was quite gobsmacked by that. I wasn't expecting that at all. And so I started getting worried I'd put it on, maybe put them up for too cheap, just with how fast they'd gone. Actually made us laugh because I ended up following the guy that bought them. He relisted them on eBay straight away. It's like first time he put them up for $2,000, and he's like, oh shit, maybe I did really like undervalue these. Then he took that down and he put them up for 600. It's like, okay, so he's just looking to double his money. Fair enough. Then he took that down and he put it on an auction. I was watching it and it's at like 50 quid. And it's like, okay, well, that's probably what I should have got for them. Fair enough. I carried on watching it and it ended the other day at obviously the big flurry of bids at the end that you expect. And he got 140 quid. And I just felt gutted for him, at the same time quite happy for myself. So yeah, nice little windfall for me. So anyone out there who's in the UK or visiting the UK, keep an eye out for them AA01s.
And the AK-47, right? That's fucking awesome.
Yep, them too. I think the JA ones are going as well because it's Jane Austen on the back of the notes. So Jane Austen.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to get you to send me one of those notes to send you some money. I'd like to see what a plastic note feels like.
I thought I had some over there. Like maybe Canada. I thought Canada maybe had them because our new Bank of England used to run the Bank of Canada, and that's where you got the idea from.
I don't live anywhere near Canada. Well, actually, I do. I take that.
I know, but you might have seen Canadian money. That's what I said.
It is actually a pretty good rarity for the area that we live in to see any sort of foreign currency. And if we do see foreign currency, it's because it looks really close to one of our coins and it snuck its way in.
We keep getting nickels and dimes over here.
From Canada or from the U.S.?
From the U.S.
Nice.
The big one I keep getting is Canadian pennies.
Yeah, I do see quite a bit of those. All right, so let's talk about gun laws.
Okay.
Brew, you talked to us about, how it's relatively easy now to purchase guns. Let's talk about, okay, what is your opinion in the aftermath of what just happened in Vegas with the shooting? People that I work with on a daily basis, one of my good friends at work, he tends to think that purchasing any kind of semi-automatic weapon is going to become obsolete very soon. I have a different approach to that. I think that buying semi-automatic weapons will probably not become hard to do right away. I think probably what will become, if they change any laws, will be the ability to build your own gun. Because I think that can be probably regulated more quickly, or deregulated more quickly than a completely manufactured gun. So, Brew, give us your thoughts on that.
So, I personally, from being in the industry, I haven't seen anything popping up that's showing that a semi-automatic rifle is going to be any harder to buy. We're still selling them every day. Of course, we have the normal panic buying going on right now, so people who have promised they'd never own one are coming in to buy one before they can, because of this whole fear-mongering that all these gun groups are pushing right now. What I think is going to be hard to do is to add accessories to your ARs. I think, or to your semi-automatic rifles. That's going to be hard to do. We're already seeing it with the bump fire and the slide fire stock systems. I mean, to the point to where Cabela's caught so much flack for it, they pulled them off the shelf and off their online website.
So a company here in the U.S. that sells guns on the regular and accessories for them has completely pulled them off the shelf with nothing coming down other than somebody from up top saying we're not selling this shit right now because of the flack they got.
Well, what it was, yeah, because of the flack, there was actually a newspaper article written, and Cabela's as a corporation is actually kind of under a magnifying glass right now because 8 of the firearms that were found in that crazy motherfucker's hotel room were purchased legally with the proper background checks performed at a Cabela's in Nevada. So they're under a little bit of scrutiny.
The key word there is he legally purchased them.
Yes, exactly.
Which I could go into a whole nother tangent about how the probability of that being a one-man shooter operation is scientifically impossible, but that's a fucking talk. Probably me and Bo in the shower.
You and I have discussed that one before, and we're both on the same page.
Yeah, that's that. Me and Bo will probably discuss that next week, but if that's just fucking ludicrous to think that one person could do all of that shit. Anyway, yeah. So you don't think so? That's your opinion on the gun laws right now. You think that the accessories will be the thing that will be hard to get if they do anything?
Well, there's a law going into Congress right now. It's still got to be reviewed and all that other political legal crap that happens. But it is specifically written to make it illegal to purchase or possess any accessory for a semi-automatic rifle that is designed to make the rifle fire faster.
Okay.
So it hasn't quite made it to Congress or anything yet. It just got drafted up about a week ago.
Okay. So on that same note, let's talk about some gun control. Thor talked to us about we discussed it a little bit about how it's hard. I guess it's almost impossible for UK citizens to purchase guns. Do you favor having guns in your country, or what's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I'm kind of on the fence a bit about it. I mean, one product of us having the gun laws, we don't have very much gun crime at all over here. So I can think of maybe 2 occasions in the last 30, 40 years where there's been like massive gun crime. And one of them was Dunblane. That was someone went in, shot up a school. I think the other one was a school as well, but I can't remember when it was. I don't know. I don't feel it's actually necessary.
So you don't feel like that it's necessary to control them, or it's necessary to own them?
I don't see how it's necessary for everyone to own. If everyone's got them, then yes, I can see where the argument for everyone to have them has come from, if that makes sense. But when no one's got them, I mean, in a way, it kind of comes easier to control, because if one is found, then it is something out of the ordinary. There's no questions about whether this is legal or not, because it is illegal.
Right.
I mean, it is legal to own guns, as I say, for certain people. You can get licenses. I've actually we've been talking. It's like I could go and get a firearms license tomorrow if I wanted to.
How much would that cost you? What would that? What are the details for that?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
It doesn't actually say where I'm looking, which is the government website. You think it would? Maybe they don't want to advertise it.
Probably not. So, so another thing too is knives. So I bought you a knife the other day without thinking about it, and I was talking to you, and I was like, "Oh shit, is there a law about how big a knife can be for you?" And you told me, what was it, 3 inches or 5 inches?
3, I think.
Yeah, so this really nice knife I wanted to, that I bought for Thor, I wanted to send to him. I cannot send to him because he can't fucking have it in his country. And to me, and to most Americans, you just it's hard to even fathom that. You're like, what? When you say you can't have this knife, people are like, well, fuck, how long is it? People are probably thinking, did you try to buy him a sword or something like that? You know, and literally, it's just it's a spring-loaded, like what do you call it? Not a fixed blade; it's a folding blade. Yeah, and
Or spring assist.
Yeah, a spring-assisted opening blade, and it's nice. I wanted to send it to him, but yeah, I can't because it's fucking illegal. I don't want him to go to jail for having it.
Yeah, just looking at it, it's illegal to carry a knife in public without good reason, unless it's a knife with a folding blade 3 inches long or less.
For good
Like
reason. What the fuck is the definition of good reason? That's like crazy laws like they have here in the U.S. about, like, it's illegal to beat your wife on the court steps with a stick no bigger than your thumb. Like, what? What?
Oh, we've got one. Sorry. That's the rule of thumb, that one.
It is. That's how that, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's like the city I live in. It's actually etched in stone in the town hall, so it can't be revoked. But if you find a Scotsman within the city walls after midnight, you're allowed to take him up to gallows and hang him. It's like the only slight problem with that is the city walls don't exist anymore.
So what is considered as city walls, and where is the Scotsman?
Oh, there's plenty of Scotsmen here. I'm right on the border with Scotland, so that's why that law exists. Because, obviously back 400 years ago, back in history, you won't know about that.
Oh, thanks.
But Scotland was independent, and we used to have raiding parties as the border reivers was a big thing. So, yeah, we were always on the lookout for Scotsmen.
Is that how old you are, Thor? Were you alive during those days?
No.
Oh, goodness.
Well, it's
like actually descended from them. I'd send her over to meet you.
What did you say? What now? What?
I said the girlfriend's actually descended from them, so I can send her over to meet you if you really want.
Well, speaking of meeting, you and your girlfriend just recently got engaged, right?
We did. Well, no, we didn't. We got engaged about 3 years ago.
Well, okay, but recently you've set a date for your wedding, which is a big deal.
We have.
So congratulations to you on losing every fucking bit of manhood for the rest of your life. So. No, but for real, congrats. And then you guys for a honeymoon want to come over to the States, right?
We do. It's like one of our dreams of what we'd want to do in the future would be a log cabin by the side of a lake somewhere.
Yep. And I've shown you a log cabin by the lake here recently.
You have.
That you're really interested in coming and staying.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
I still love the day that he asked us if you had a cabin by the lake, and we thought it was for a completely other reason. We were laughing.
Yes.
You still haven't told me what that means over there.
Well, tell him, Brew. Tell him what it means. What a cabin by the lake means.
Well, first off, there's a whole bunch of American horror movies based off cabins by the lake.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people get murdered, or they do some weird witchcraft, wizardry, sorcery shit, and bad stuff happens. And also depicted in movies a lot is the cabin by the lake in the woods is where the rednecks that go, you got a pretty mouth. That's where they live. And so usually it means you're going to get murdered or raped, or both.
So when Thor's asking me if I got a cabin by a lake, I'm thinking, this little fucking UK bastard wants to come over and put my dick in his mouth.
That's not what we're... I can't speak today, bloody hell. So that's not where I want to be putting it. Yes. Not with you.
Yes, absolutely. So, but yeah, I think, so we're trying to get Thor and his girlfriend to come over to the States and stay at this cabin that's relatively close to my house where I live here. But yeah, we need to make that happen. You need to come over. It'd be great to meet you in person. That would be something awesome. We'll get Brew involved in all that. I'll let you
have to take some time off work.
Well, we don't want to wreck his honeymoon, so maybe we'll speak to him for
like a day or two.
So what
that
we'll
way
do,
I can hang out with you once we're done hanging out with Thor.
What we'll do, Thor, is we'll take Brew out to that cabin. I'll knock him out and tie him to a tree, give you a firearm, and then go untie him and tell him, like, I'm gonna give you the most dangerous game experience right here in the middle of the woods in Wyoming. I'm gonna set him free and tell you to go.
So if any of our viewers fancy like parachuting in,
right. So, well, cool. Again, congrats on getting married. So when is the date?
we're looking early October next year.
Early October, that's right. Good stuff. All right, so another thing that's been going on in the news recently is, like, the NFL has this huge deal everybody knows about with the national anthem. When the national anthem plays, we got all these NFL players, team owners, coaching staff, where they're kneeling. And it started, last year with Colin Kaepernick of the San Francisco 49ers, who is out of work now. Nobody wants to hire him. He's kind of like this, like, it's like a taboo. Roger Goodell, who is the, I guess, what do you call it, the CEO, superintendent of the NFL, has come down and not really made any kind of crazy decisions other than it's kind of up to the team owner. But it's, people have, they've taken it personal. I have especially seen it here in where I live, where it's a very, probably the best way to put it is I live in a very conservative area, but work for a very liberal agency. I had people, actually, I was at work a couple weeks ago, when somebody that I know that likes the Denver Broncos called me at work, and he was like, "Hey, take all that Denver Broncos shit down in my office." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, fuck those guys. I'm not supporting them anymore. Take it all down." And then he told me to throw it all away. So I go in this guy's office and take down all this Denver fucking Broncos, like, shit, fucking flags and shirts and all this other shit. I take it and I throw it away. So that's how people, and a lot of people here are like that. They think that it's that it's absolutely just fucking heresy that these people are not standing for the national anthem. I was in the military for a long time. All of you guys know that. And my opinion about it is that we as the American people have the freedom to choose what kind of shit and what kind of stuff we say. Kind of like this show, where we don't have somebody coming down and saying that I can't say this stuff on the internet. So my opinion about it is that you as a person should be able to choose if you don't want to stand or if you want to kneel for the national anthem. I fought for you to have those freedoms, to ensure that you still keep them. And so I don't have any issues with that shit. I know that sounds probably very anti-American or whatever the fuck you want to say, but that's my opinion about it. I feel like I may not agree with it, but it is your right to not stand up or not, I don't think it's disrespect. I just think it's your right to do it. And a lot of people, most people disagree with me on that shit, which is fine. I don't give a fuck. Then you have these assholes, like, I think they're assholes. They have the season ticket holders to these fucking teams, and they're in the backyard with their fucking GoPros or their camera phones, and they're burning their season tickets in protest of these people. Like, to me, that's fucking idiotic. That's fucking just whatever. But that's your right, too. I agree to disagree with you about that shit. So, okay, so, Brew, we'll hear from you first on this. What is your opinion about that? And does it affect you? I know you're not a big sports fan.
I like hockey. That's my sport of choice. But no, I'm kind of with you. I mean, you have the right to do what you want to do, but in the same aspect, I have a right to protest the NFL because of it. Or not really protest, but like I'm not going to spend any money while they're doing this because I don't agree with it. Not that I don't agree with what the point they're trying to get across. I think it's kind of a silly point. But you could have picked a better time and place to do it.
I have heard that argument. I've heard people say, they don't they're not mad at them. Well, they're mad at what they're doing. They're mad about how they're doing it, how they're going about. They're using the stage of the NFL, and I disagree with that because I think, okay, this is where their platform is. This is what these guys do for a living, and this is their right to do it there. So.
And see, that's all fine and dandy too. Where I've got an issue, like if they wanted to do it one day, they're out there, but like we're not waiting for a game to be played or something, which I know they don't play the national anthem any other time in those stadiums. But like their paychecks, I mean, the NFL's all tax subsidized, so it's all paid for by our taxes, things like that.
It's a non-profit that turns
non-profit. So that's where I have an issue with it. Like I don't want my money going towards multi-millionaires, protesting inequality. Like, you want to protest inequality.
The best way to not support that would just be not to watch or not buy a ticket, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I do. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. Just because too many people get too into it and too upset about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people upset about it. All right, so Thor, based on what you do for a living, and like, what is your opinion about it from an outside perspective?
Well, firstly, just something Brew just said then about these being privileged people who are protesting against inequality. That kind of just struck me the wrong way, because it's like these are the people who have been lucky enough to make it to be privileged, and they're the ones that people are looking at. And that surely makes them the best ones to be protesting. It's like if some guy down at the end of your street started just kneeling down, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. But because these people are viewed, it's got people talking about it.
Right.
I mean, personally, it's peaceful protest, and that's got to be a whole lot better than the other kind of protest in any book. They're not harming anyone. People are talking about the subject that they want them to talk about, which is all they're aiming for. It strikes me funny with some of the hypocrisy. It's like there's people getting offended over this not standing to the national anthem, that at the same time are misusing the American flag. I remember seeing a list when all this was happening about like when and the American flag should be used and when it shouldn't be used, and it shouldn't be used on. It actually specifically says athletes' uniforms.
Right, and you see them all over them. Yeah.
It's like the American flag's not supposed to touch the ground, and you see it draped over the pitch at the start of the game. It's like, it's like you're letting them break some rules, but you're complaining when they use their right to protest. It's like,
well, the funny thing is, in that same code of flag etiquette, there is a code as to what defines it as a flag. It's got to be made out of a certain material. The stripes have to measure certain widths. The stars have to be certain sizes, and things like this for the different sizes of flags that we fly. So, like the American flags, we go to like Walmart or something to buy. Those aren't, according to code, those aren't actual American flags. They are the American flag design on a piece of polyester. Things like that.
So I will say this about the American.
Something I didn't know.
So when I was growing up, my parents were both in the military, and it was like when everybody, it was after 9/11, everybody had a flag at their house and shit like that. And my parents we lived in a fucking big house that had on the second floor, it had like a porch, and my dad went up there and not nailed the flag, but hung a flag, and not on a flagpole, but like on two grommets. Does that make sense? Where it's like draping down, not touching anything. Well, they kept it up there like all the time, 24/7, and I kept telling my mom, like, you guys need to turn the light on if you're gonna keep that flag up at night, and she's like, well, I don't want to do that. Just take it down at night. And so they started taking it down at night, and of course that led to they didn't. Some nights they would forget about it, and it started pissing me off again. So I told my mom, I was like, look, if you're gonna fly the flag, like, you need to have it properly lit at night. That's a law. Like, in fact, it's a city ordinance for most towns too.
Yes.
That's why you see flags, if they're going to be flown 24/7, there'll be big spotlights on the ground pointing up at them. And I remember having this huge argument with my mother and father, and we were in a car driving, and my mom was like screaming at me that it was like I had no right to tell her what to do about this shit. And finally, my dad spoke up, and he's like, oh, "You know, he's right. We need to do the right thing." And I was like, "Fucking finally, a small victory against my mother because of the flag."
Like, see, everyone was throwing a fit because then, shortly after this whole NFL protest thing came out, Kid Rock came out on stage wearing a poncho designed to look like the American flag. And people didn't realize that it was a poncho designed to look like the American flag. So everyone's giving him just this rash amount of shit for ripping a hole in the center of an American flag and wearing it like a poncho, when that's not really what he did. Because according to the code of flag etiquette, you're not supposed to wear an American flag. It's clothing either.
Right. So the whole like protest again, I just you know, and to me, I'll tell you what I think happened. I think the whole thing, so last year the NFL's ratings dipped way down. They're like the lowest they'd ever been. And this year, what I think the NFL did was some people protested and they capitalized on it. You know, the saying goes is there's no such thing as bad publicity. Like the NFL ratings have gone through the fucking roof because of this shit. You know, more people watch because they want to see who's gonna kneel. You know.
Yeah.
So I think they used it almost as a marketing strategy in their favor, if that makes sense. People can say whatever the fuck they want, but you know they fucking did. It's a money-making operation.
I'm surprised we haven't started taking bets on it yet.
There you go, Thor. Start that up over there. Okay, so it's like that I forget which team it was, but they said that they were going to keep their players in the locker room during the national anthem to keep them out of the eye of the public, or whatever they wanted. And then the guy, he was the ex-Special Forces who was on their team, he walked out of the locker room and stood and saluted the flag, or saluted for the national anthem. And then he ended up getting just this whole rash of shit for it. It's like, well, you know, if you're going to leave it to people's choice to kneel, don't give them rash shit if they choose to stand.
Yeah. So,
and especially, like, I feel that, like, he's earned his right to decide whether he's going to kneel or stand. Like, like, you read about the history of this guy and what he went through in the Special Forces. Like, you know what? If he wants to stand, just let the motherfucker stand. If he wants to walk
somebody's
out there
going to come to his house and be like, "Look, motherfucker."
Exactly. Because you read about some of the hardcore shit this dude did, and it's like, you know what? You've earned this. You just do you, man. Just do you.
And people like have gotten mad at me knowing my service record, and they're like, "Look, motherfucker, like you took bullets and got blown up for all this shit," and I'm like, "I did it so you could have the fucking right to choose, motherfucker. Like that's why I did this shit. Like, don't get mad at me about it." So, but what is there like a sentiment in the UK, Thor, that people here? This is like just typical American behavior. People getting all bent out of shape over nothing.
Yeah, that's basically it over here. So I'm kind of watching you over the pond, going, "You getting mad about this?"
Hey, we got mad about attacks on tea, okay?
Goddamn, yeah, we sure did, didn't we?
But yeah, that's all there is to it. It's like it just seems a lot of misdirection, if I'm honest. It's like obviously you've got everything going on over in Korea, the whole Iraq-Iran agreement and everything, and all of American media seems to be going on about a few football players.
I agree.
That's the funny thing is, a lot of us here in the U.S. that want to watch real news, we go to BBC.
This is
that's
true.
where the real news comes from.
Honestly, our news here is junk because you hear about celebrities and football players and this, that, and the other thing, and then you switch over to like BBC or one of the other foreign news channels, and it's like you can actually see what's going on in the world.
Oh yes, World War III has started. Just by the way.
So Thor, have you ever thought about you? I guess I assume you like living in the UK, right? You've never thought I want to go live somewhere else. I want to go live in the States, or I want to live in Canada, or elsewhere in the Europe.
I wouldn't go so far as like living in the UK. It's just never had the choice in the matter. It's where I was born. It's where I've stayed.
Yeah.
I mean,
if given the opportunity, would you leave?
Yes, just to find out what it was like.
Okay.
If you're not doing something new, then what's the point?
Oh, that's fair. That's a fair thing. Brew, would you ever consider leaving the U.S.?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. A lot of the stuff that I own, a lot of the stuff that I own is illegal in other countries.
I'm kind of like I like owning guns. I've been around guns my whole life. I was in the military, but for years I thought about. In fact, I got dual citizenship for several years into Canada, and I had full intentions of moving there. I got married again and had a kid, so that kind of just negated all that together. And that would be the only reason that I would, if somebody told me I could go tomorrow to Canada and live there, I'd be gone. But the only reason I would not is I have a kid here in the U.S. and they would just make it hard to see her more often. So, but I'm not an unpatriotic person. I just think that I'm like Thor. Like, if you're not doing something new, then what the fuck is the point? So, I like doing new things all the time. So I'm going different places. So, but I've enjoyed having you guys on the show. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So we've talked for about an hour. It went pretty quick, huh? You don't think it dragged on, right?
Oh God, no! That was the quickest hour of my life.
What'd you think, Thor?
I did not notice what time it was. Yeah.
So it's not that hard. We'd love to have you guys back on again. If you're interested, you just let me know. In the meantime, me and Bo Machado will be back next Thursday, hopefully. Just watch the Twitter and Instagram. You'll be able to watch this all over again on YouTube, and just look for future posts. Make sure you check out the new series if you're interested in the Barefoot Bandits. Myself, Thor, and Brew will be doing those up. We have a new episode coming out when, Thor? Is it Sunday?
Sunday morning my time, might be Saturday night your time.
All right, perfect. So another Barefoot Bandits episode. This will be Slightly Nocturnal show will be live tomorrow and up on YouTube for everybody to watch and listen again. Tell your friends, tell your folks, share it on Twitter, share it on all the social medias of the sort. Brew, you got anything else you want to put in before we get out of here?
I don't have anything else.
Thor, got anything to say to the people of the worlds?
No, as Doc says, check out the Barefoot Bandits on Sunday. That's actually going to be my first ever YouTube video. That's
right. Thor filmed this and produced it himself. So Thor's going to be helping us out at Kill Cobra, and I'm super excited about that. All right. Anything else, fellas?
Nope.
Nope? All right. Well, remember, folks, to question everything and think for your motherfucking self, and we'll see you in the next episode.